Just 78 days from the general election, and today kicks off one of the largest events of an election year, the Democratic National Convention. We are tracking it all right here at ABC News Live. This week is filled with speeches by some of the party's biggest stars, and it will end with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris accepting their nominations as the Democratic presidential and vice presidential candidates. A new ABC News Washington Post poll has Joe Biden leading President Trump 53 to 41% among registered voters. The candidates gave us a bit of a preview of what's to come at their first official event together as running mates.
I knew we were in the battle for the soul of the nation. That's when I decided to run. And I'm proud now to have Senator Harris at my side in that battle because she shares it with the same intensity I do. Or she's someone who knows what's at stake.
And the people are who Joe and I will fight for every day in the White House. And let me tell you, as somebody who has presented my fair share of arguments in court, the case against Donald Trump and Mike Pence is open and shut.
For more on what to expect at the DNC this week, I'm joined by ABC News Political Director Rick Klein in Washington. Rick, they won't be pulling any punches, that's for sure, but both the Democratic and Republican conventions are mostly virtual this year because of the pandemic. What kind of a role do these conventions traditionally play, and how might that change this year?
Modern conventions essentially are TV shows anyway, so there's a certain intellectual honesty to saying that this is all going to be virtual, this is all going to be geared toward that TV audience. It's going to be weird, though. To my mind, weirder than even watching sports in the age of COVID-19, not to have any reaction, any of the sights and sounds, the funny hats, the balloons, the streamers, the pyrotechnics that can happen. All of that is out because we're in this new virtual world. So it's really going to be on the speakers to keep to these tighter time frames, deliver those messages as quickly as they can and as compelling a fashion as they can. But frankly, no one really knows what to expect because this never happened before.
No more bands, no bad dance moves, whatever will we do?
Exactly, and that's the fun of a convention. Instead, it's going to have to rely on a whole lot of speeches, and there'll be plenty of them, even though they'll be quite a bit tighter than they've been in years past.
Well, so on that note, we've got 4 nights of the DNC. They all have different themes with different speakers to fit those themes. Tonight is all about We the People. What are some of the highlights?
This night is intended to show the potential breadth of the Biden coalition. Going from ideological left to right, you have Senator Bernie Sanders and you have former Governor John Kasich, a Republican who ran for president just 4 years ago. So that, I think, is one indication. You've also got some red state Democrats, people like Senator Doug Jones from Alabama. And the end of the night is going to be Michelle Obama. The First Lady, as we know, is one of the most popular figures, if not the most popular political figure in the country. She's taped her speech, but that is going to be the last thing that delegates virtually and the audience at home gets to see tonight.
Well, and former President Barack Obama and the First Lady Michelle Obama have mostly stayed on the sidelines during this campaign, but they will both be speaking during this convention. Given things are virtual, how much more important is things like, star power and having big names behind you?
The Democrats need motivation. They need that more than unity at this moment, which is unusual because usually you come into a convention, you're talking about all the divisions, fights over party platform, and are there going to be boos when certain speakers get up or cheers for certain lines? All of that is gone. So instead, this really is about getting the Democratic base and any independents and maybe even Republicans motivated to vote. That's where the Obamas come in, particularly Michelle Obama focused a lot of her experts on voter registration, voter engagement, getting out there and finding a rationale for people at home to connect. And I think the choice of Kamala Harris, according to our polling and other indications, have only been positive so far for the early rollout.
Rick, we can't let you go without playing a little bit of our favorite game, Stump with Rick Klein, and it's only appropriate that we do one that is themed around the conventions. Are you ready, Rick?
Your favorite game, not necessarily mine, but go for it.
Fair enough, but it's my show, so off we go. Rick, who was the first candidate nominated at a Democratic National Convention, and where was it held?
The first, I'm gonna go with Baltimore because they've had so many, but I don't think I could tell you the first convention nomination. That I don't have.
All right, well, we'll give it to you. It was Andrew Jackson in Baltimore.
Baltimore. They've had a lot. It's interesting. Chicago's had the most. Baltimore's the second most. Poor Milwaukee. They've never had one before this year, and I guess they're going to have to wait for any kind of a real convention in the city. But Andrew Jackson in Baltimore sounds like a good answer.
All right, now you're just showing off with all your extra knowledge over here. Rick, who was the first nominee to speak in person at a convention?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm going to go... I'm going to go with Roosevelt, Franklin Roosevelt.
You are correct. Joe Biden is 77 years old. Who was the oldest nominee for president or vice president for either party?
I'm going to go with John McCain for that.
This is a tough one. Henry Davis was the Democrats nominated for vice president at age 81, the oldest nominee ever for either party for top office. Okay, contested conventions used to be a lot more common. So which convention had the longest nominating process before picking a nominee?
Well, they sometimes went to the teens of ballots. I can't tell you when the longest was. There hasn't been one on a second ballot, though, so you can give me partial credit for this little piece of knowledge since 1952. So it's been a while since we've had the contested convention. But what's the answer for the most number of ballots?
The answer is 1924. After 103 tries over the course of 17 days, John Davis was selected as the Democratic nominee.
Can you imagine covering that one?
Still here, still voting.
Exactly.
And finally, Rick, which city has hosted the most conventions? You might have already said this.
Oh, Chicago. Yeah, Chicago. It's the Midwestern thing. It's a central location, so easy to get to by train. Although it's weird, they haven't had one, I think, since 1996 now. So a bit of a drought for the Windy City.
All right, but it's Milwaukee's turn, right? That's what you're saying?
Well, Milwaukee, this was their big opportunity. It would have been fun. And people in Milwaukee are already talking, give us 2024. They want to be back in 4 years.
All right, Rick Klein, always great. Thanks for brushing us up on the details of the convention, and thanks for being a good sport and playing with us as well.
All right, you bet.
And for all of you at home, be sure to tune in tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern for ABC News Live special coverage of the kickoff to the 2020 Democratic National Convention. George, David, and Lindsay Davis will all bring you the latest, and that's tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on ABC News Live.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.